Can you see me now?
Please stand by starting soon. Refreshing. Please stand
We're
by
live.
starting soon. Please stand by starting soon. I am standing by.
It says I have one viewer.
That's me.
Hi, Mackenzie.
I can't see you.
Not yet?
Wait. Wait. Oh.
Is it weird?
Okay.
Is it like a 5-second delay?
It's a 25-second delay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, is that for me?
That is for me.
Poopy. Poopy diaper. Okay, I'm going to let my people. Always, I'm gonna have to do this through my phone because I don't want to lose my signal. To check my Facebook page. Oops. All right. Hey, peeps. I posted the link on my main Facebook page. My daughter,
Hi. I'm the daughter.
Mackenzie, will be fielding questions for me tonight. Let's start.
There's still one person watching after me. I'm gonna like it.
You're gonna like it.
I can't like it right now.
You can't?
Nope. It's just not 7 o'clock yet. It was 6:59. Now
All
I'm
right.
a minute early.
Yeah. Well, I am punctual, and I know the Bruins are playing tonight, and Chris is home, and he wants this to end promptly.
It was not playing tonight. I want to watch.
Well,
Hockey!
he starts in half an hour.
How long are these meetings?
1 hour.
Oh.
Then we'll go home and drink wine and be merry. That's speaking. Hello! Is that light? Is that better?
For 25 seconds, you can see. I'm sorry.
Dr. Puig is here to answer your question.
Whatever these questions are.
I know Heidi has a few, but I'm going to wait till Heidi tunes in. Let me actually check through. Oh, you liked it. Salud.
Thank you.
You liked my post. Thanks, honey.
Oh, you're welcome.
Oh,
Yeah.
someone's here.
Really? Oh, there's a car.
Charlene.
The vehicle. Oh, that's a cool.
Just a little bit.
Mm. I get paid for this.
Perhaps.
Okay.
With booze and pizza.
You can't go on air and say you're going to
Just kidding. Oops. Someone else is online. Someone heard it. No, I'm just trying to see if you can follow it. Oh, look, you can even follow it through mobile app.
Yeah, you can.
That's cool.
The power of the internet.
Hello. How are you? Great. Welcome. Hi. I'm actually I just clicked on the link on my phone to see if it works. It even works mobile, guys. Yes. That's pretty cool. This is my daughter Mackenzie.
Hello.
I just yes. And she actually has still one more project to hand in tomorrow, which she's working on. Her final
Make it a comic.
comic. What's that? It's a lot of work. Yeah.
The pages that look like they're done, and then 4 the pages that look like I haven't even touched, which is true.
No, just as long as I can. Yeah, anywhere. Just make sure, Mackenzie, that your homework isn't there. So,
Look, there are 3 people watching now. Yay.
there's 3 people watching. Hey.
There's a 25-second delay for the video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you notice?
I watched it last week.
Yeah, did you notice that there was a delay?
Yeah, but not too bad.
Okay. All right. So I actually posted on my main Facebook page today. I wanted to see how many people might tune in.
Oh, yeah.
So just for giggles, just thought, okay, let's put it on the main page and see who tunes in. How was the week, though?
Awesome.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You guys are following the plan, or are you doing something like it?
I'm following this, like, I don't buy a lot of fish. I'll eat fish if someone's here for me, but I'm sure there's, fish so where it's like fish, like it's a food or a turkey breast
Okay.
or something.
Oh,
like
great.
that. But I've pretty much done exactly that.
Okay, so you're following the meal plan. I don't know who's watching. If Heidi, if that's you, if anyone who's in the Eat Real Food group, please post below the my page and just let me know who's on, so that way I can also relay comments. And I know were you able to hear everybody else at the table?
Okay.
You could?
A couple of the questions I missed, but then we started to answer it. I figured out.
Okay. All right. So for now, you're following the meal plan, so the fish is opening up more options.
I had fish the other night at a restaurant.
Yeah, but okay.
Like, I love fish, but it's just like I won't generally go out and buy it because my schedule could change at the last minute and I go down.
Yes, the lifespan is very limited.
Right, so that's the only thing I've really substituted, but everything else, like pretty much, I'll mix and match. I might do a Monday on the Tuesday.
That's fine.
Like that. But I mean,
Okay. And how are you feeling on it?
That is not hungry at all.
A lot of food.
She's not hungry. That's what my daughter was just saying. She's like, wait a minute. She's on a diet. She's complaining that she's eating a lot of food. And
But it's the weirdest thing because in most diets you think, oh, you have to go and starve yourself or something, and then here people are like, hey, can I not eat as much food? I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
I know.
yeah, it is. It is. So that's great that you feel.
Like the toughest thing for me because last week when I didn't know about this.
Yeah, that's right.
So I started the very next day. So it took me until at least Sunday. Every time I opened up the door in the fridge that had the apples and pears in them, I would even stop. I'd say, oh man, I would just give anything to eat that apple or pear. But that kind of, after about 4 days, I was cool with that.
Okay.
And it's been fun.
Any sugar withdrawals? Because that was probably your biggest transition.
That was it, the apple, and that was, yeah, because I'm not a big sugar person anyway,
Okay.
so it wasn't, I don't eat like a lot of candy.
Okay. And it was just, and for some people who don't understand why I take fruit out in the first 2 weeks, it's just to become a little, for some people don't realize just how much that can trigger more sugar cravings, and thus the reason why you're probably not having any cravings. Hello, Karen. How are you? Yes, and we're live too, so I posted a link on Facebook on my main page for, I just thought, like, let me see through social media. Of course, that's like anything else, it takes a long time to grow something. But I just thought for giggles, so 4 people are watching, well, including you, Mackenzie.
Hi.
So, so you need to, I know you're doing your homework, but you're supposed to be fielding questions
That's
if you
what I'm
see
doing.
it.
I am looking for that.
Okay, so if anybody has any questions, whether you're part of our Eat Real Food Challenge for the month of May, I have a group, or if you're just a Facebook friend or fan who's following me, I can also field any wellness questions. I think everybody could benefit from here. I know last week's meeting, it was really good because it was very well-rounded for a lot of people, just questions that maybe you had thought of and forgotten to bring up. So our challenge is to basically eat single ingredient foods, and now some of you guys have been doing this now for 2 weeks maybe, or maybe rounding up the second week. And how are you doing on it?
I'm doing pretty good. I don't follow it
To a T?
but I'm sort of, the meals, like I'll pick like one of the meals and kind of make that based on like what I have, or kind of.
That's fine.
Yeah. So
That's perfectly fine.
I would say, and I think the hardest part for me is the snacks, because I know there's a lot of peanut butter and like.
Yeah.
I know because I work out in the morning, I don't do that after
Because stay away from fats post-workout.
So I kind of have to flip-flop, but then it's, I mean, I know I was just going to get some other snacks to have like post-workout. I know we talked about this last week, but I think they're good. Because Lorena said like egg whites and like cakes is good.
Yeah, or even egg whites with oatmeal as a post-workout. Or if you're doing the protein pancake for breakfast, I tell a lot of people maybe do half of it and have the pre-workout half. Have it with, do you not do almond butter or peanut butter?
Yeah, I do.
You do. The pre-workout, put a little bit of almond or peanut butter, and the post-workout one, have it with a little bit of maple syrup.
Oh, okay. I love the
So,
I've just been having that in the morning.
Okay.
Did you make it like a double thing? Or is it just you just split it in half?
I just kind of split it in half almost.
Okay.
You know, I do. I'll split it in half, and then I'll put peanut butter on the one pre-workout, and I use
so that's really just considered the benefits of meals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're going to be adding more fats for the pre-workout. You can be adding more carbs to the post-workout, so that kind of balances it out.
Okay,
if you'd like to do that.
Figure out.
Yeah.
But for a couple days I was just sort of really following it, so not.
And do you do protein shakes? Because you can substitute. You don't, right? But again, you can.
Try. I mean, I purchased some of the. I don't know. I'm just not a big shake.
Okay.
But I might try it. But it's hard for me to get those.
When was the last time you've had it?
It's been a while.
Okay, so they've gotten much better.
Okay.
Much better. Yes. Have a question?
Somebody named Amanda Lazanda. She says she's LinkedIn. So that's
Oh, okay.
good.
Hi, Nancy.
I'm sorry, there's another name that I couldn't pronounce.
No, that's fine. Let me look.
Yep.
You can't pronounce it. Where? Oh, Nancy Lozada. Yes. Hi. Well, if you have any questions, I know she used to take my class at Gold's in Milford.
Ooh.
So it's been a while since I've seen her. All right, so that's a good. I mean, that's.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think once, because you're not doing fruit now for the first 2 weeks.
No, I remember like 2015. I moved here and immediately I had an apple. Like that's just what I like.
Yeah.
Fruit.
Yeah.
So I think
Which.
the first couple of days I wasn't sure, so I did have like I had one or one or two or whatever. Then you said
Yeah, but when you go back to it, that's post-workout, the fruit is fine.
okay.
I mean, I used to make this tuna and apple, like little Waldorf thing, and that was always actually was my bodybuilder trainer who told me that it was like perfect to have post-workout. And it was a can of tuna, and I would cut up an apple, and I would use just a wee bit of Greek yogurt as my mayo,
Oh.
and a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and sweetener was I using back then? It may have been Splenda back then. This was like 10 years ago before we knew everything about it. But just to sweeten it just enough, and that was usually my post-workout food. but you know, it can always be an eggs on Ezekiel sandwich. It can be
Can I have like
Ezekiel. Yes, yes, those are fine too. Yep, they have the gluten-free ones, and they also have the ones that are just the sprouted grain. If you don't have a problem with gluten, and that's acceptable too. And yeah, in terms of food with nutrition labels, are you having any issues eating foods with without nutrition labels, or are there some things that you still eat?
Oh, you mean like packaged food?
Yeah. Other than
I
that,
think other than like the rice cakes.
the rice cakes, yeah.
Packaged. I haven't gotten myself anything in the frozen box food.
How has that been eye-opening?
Yeah.
Like in the last couple of weeks?
When I'm shopped, it's like I'm not in any of the aisles.
Yeah.
On the yeah.
Right. Yeah. Fill their snacks and do all that, but
The perimeter though.
I didn't realize I was snacking on their stuff until it's still in the cabinet.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, my husband's finding it.
So having the kids snack, has that been, and not eating it now, has that been tempting or?
Not really.
Okay.
The first couple days were hard. I
Yeah.
have my moments where you just kind of like, okay, just kind of you know,
Okay.
you know, just but then you get over it in like 10 minutes. And I'm fine.
Yeah, because they're done in 5 or 10 minutes, and then you're thinking, gosh, meanwhile, I would have been beating myself up the rest of the night for eating crappy pizza.
You know what I mean? Like I like to save. I want to
Yeah, save your treat meal. Absolutely, make it count,
Exactly.
and not this impulsive thing because it's there,
Right.
which I think you know, we're very good at. It is.
I'm actually really proud of you. I just have a little bit. Because I'm a snacker at night. That's my problem. I stay up.
So you're a late
I
snacker.
like to just, but I didn't realize that I was, you know, just the crackers here and there, but it's like it all adds up.
Yeah, it does, and it triggers other cravings,
Yeah.
which that's what people don't understand.
But I'm so glad we tried those snack packs because I bought some at home and they were really good.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Like tonight I made those brown rice tortillas
Yeah,
and guacamole.
the brown rice tortillas with the guacamole. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you found them at Stop and Shop? The one in Franklin. Yeah, the one in Franklin has a better healthy. Yeah, ever since they opened that one, they have a better selection. The one in Franklin, because the one in Milford, their selection isn't as great. They have Ezekiel, but yeah, it's hit or miss.
Yeah. Towards the end.
Okay. Yeah, they are. They're very good. It just takes a little planning.
Yeah.
And have you found that you're like with me, I tend to like, if I'm gonna have chicken, I'll just do the whole like 2 days worth of it, and then I'll switch it up.
Yeah.
Because of the variety, I don't know if I could make, you know, the turkey and the chicken and the fish and the shrimp. Yep, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I just wanted to.
If I cut too much ahead, I can just cook it.
Yeah,
Because I don't want to eat too much. And I don't want to eat the same things for days.
yeah, that's true too.
And it sits in the refrigerator.
And then it sits in the fridge because you'd rather not eat it all.
Right. I made the sweet potato muffins.
The muffins with the ground turkey.
And oh my God.
Yes, it's on my website. That's a great post-workout also. Yes, the sweet potatoes with the ground turkey, and I believe it only has an egg white in it.
No, one egg.
One egg.
And some savory.
So I didn't even have, I don't think I even had any.
How did you make
I
yours?
forgot. I added a sweet potato, the turkey.
So it's a cooked sweet potato which you mash, and then you put.
microwaved it.
Okay, then you put ground turkey,
I cut some muffins.
mushroom.
And then
Yeah, you can throw peppers, onions.
I think I forgot something. Some onions,
Yeah,
some seasoning, and that's it.
and that's it.
And then
So you made little
Good.
meatballs and then you bake them.
And I
I
baked
used to
them.
make that for breakfast and for lunch.
I put them in a muffin tin.
Yeah, you can. You can make bigger ones.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep, and you can also make the muffins also with the egg whites and oatmeal
Okay.
in a muffin tin.
Yeah.
And that's also another easy, quick post-workout that you could do too.
Yeah.
Those are You know, I put blueberries in there, but and stuff like that. Oh yeah, it's when you can. It can turn anything into a muffin or a cookie. I think.
You know, one of the biggest things I noticed this week, I have not been late to work one single morning because everything is ready the night before.
Ah.
All I do is get ready, go downstairs, and throw stuff in my lunch
Off you
bag,
go.
and everything's there, and it's like my mornings are so less stressful.
Yes.
And I never even considered that.
Oh.
It's like a bonus, you know.
It's always, you know, when people say, you know, how do you manage with 6 kids and all the work that you do? When you have your meals already prepped the night before, you really, you can manage more, actually. You know, first of all, you're eating right, you're fueling yourself properly, so you're able to handle things. But you're right, and you're not winging your next meal. You're not thinking about, you know, it's lunch, oh my God, what am I going to make for dinner? And yes. And I find that life is just a lot less stressful when everything is planned. Something as simple as having your meals prepped the night before. Life is just a lot less stressful. I found that. So a lot of benefits. Any challenges? I know week 1 is always a little more challenging going into it. I know last week, some of the girls on here, they were having some withdrawal headaches. You were.
I don't know if it was like Mother's Day or but I was like. That's
just perhaps that's just being female. Not food related. Yeah, well, that's just something we have to deal with being women, right? Any questions? Or I know Heidi did. I don't know if Heidi's watching. She had. Did you see the question that she posted on the Get Real page? Oh, Amanda. Nancy's saying it's a bit hard to hear. Please help repeat the questions, comments of the person speaking to address it. Okay, yeah. So maybe perhaps you guys need to talk louder. Okay. And Chris said he was going to get me a microphone, but just all in all, Nancy, if you're still watching, we're on week 2. Definitely a lot less challenging. The food preparation and having everything sorted the night before, a lot less stressful the next day. Getting to work on time, it's just makes life a little less stressful. And I think you're able to handle a lot more. I think. Keep watching. I am going to address the question. I don't know. Did you guys see Heidi's question today? It was in regards to, well, the grape nuts was one of them.
Now, is that in place of the...
So she said, okay, because she had asked me if she could have grape nuts for breakfast. So she said, Fujicate, I'm loving this app, says grape nuts have gluten. Of course, it doesn't like Trader Joe's salsa either because of shared processing, so I'm skeptical. People think that just it's because it's Trader Joe's that it's good for you. And just like everybody who thinks that everything that comes out of Whole Foods is good for you. You have to really be mindful. Not everything organic is non-GMO. And I know that Whole Foods is going through the big push now of making sure that everything is non-GMO by the end of 2014. So with that being said, Trader Joe's has not aligned themselves in that cause yet. So you still need to read labels. And again, just because it's organic does not mean that it's non-GMO. And it's very deceiving, and a lot of people really don't understand the difference of it. And so just be mindful. GMO is genetically modified. So a lot of foods in this country, starting with our corn and our wheat, has been genetically modified. And all of that has been, think about it, feeding the animals that we eat and all of this stuff. So that's why there's such a big problem now with people being gluten intolerant. You don't even have to be celiac to have an intolerance to wheat. A lot of it comes back, all of it, because it's GMO. Right. And that's been the big problem, I think, with, the root of the problem of everybody having GI issues nowadays, especially our generation. And the generations that come now with our kids, that's even, they're being raised on GMO food. And I don't think we weren't as much when we were younger. It's been happening more, I would say, in the 80s and 90s. So anyway, Heidi, that was your question. Yeah, so the grape nuts having gluten, if you're having a problem with gluten, then I would say go back to the gluten-free oats or the steel-cut oats. Have you guys experimented with the steel-cut oats?
I've had them in the past, not in this.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I like those. I actually, when I make my protein pancake, sometimes I'll mix regular gluten-free oats and the steel-cut oats because I like a little crunch, just to change it up.
I've been putting a little bit of oats in my shake.
Putting oatmeal in your shake is also...
Because I have a hard time eating oats. But just to...
Oh, just to force it down? Okay.
Yeah.
So Karen is saying that she puts oatmeal in her shakes, and that's also a great way to increase your carbs, especially if you're doing a post-workout shake where you need a higher carb intake. If you're not putting fruit in it, a lot of the tricks that we do is that we put the oats in the shakes, and that way you're getting good carbs in post-workout, which is when you want to replenish your muscles. You know what? Do not be afraid of carbs. Good carbs are your friend, and I think that's another important tool that we need to discuss with all the diets between Atkins and paleo, and you know, there's something everybody says, you know, what diet should you be doing? Do what's going to make you feel good. I think first and foremost, and everybody has different needs. We're going to ask a question, my dear daughter.
Yes. In the car when we were on the way back from moving me out, we were listening to the radio, and they were talking about how like people should be looking out for carbs, and you were complaining to this one guy who was talking on the radio. He was saying all carbs are carbs. We just gotta make sure that we watch what we take in. You're yelling like, no, there are certain carbs that are better for you than other. Not all carbs are carbs.
Well, yeah, they were talking. Okay, so they were talking about the movie Fed Up, which is out. Have you heard about it? So Katie Couric has produced this movie. I'm actually going to go see it tomorrow in Cambridge with Lorena, and it's the very interesting. You guys have to watch the trailer. Actually, you should. Well, might not right now, but we'll go home and watch the trailer about the food industry and how there's sugar in everything, and it's now comparable, the addiction to nicotine. Yes, and so you know, just really the awareness that kids are being born sick and are being bred sick and are just growing up in a really sick culture, and it's due to all the sugars. Back in the day when we were little, you know, our sugar consumption may have been 4 to 5 teaspoons a day. Now it's 4 to 5 teaspoons on average, at least at each meal. You know, the average now is like 22 teaspoons of sugar. A teaspoon has 4 grams of sugar. So 22 times 4 is what, 88 grams of sugar a day is just the average, when you should be really consuming under 20 grams a day. So it's a very eye-opening documentary. It's I can't wait to see it. So the guy was saying, well, you know, at the end of the day, you know, a calorie is a calorie. No, there's a difference in, you should be focusing more on the quality of your calories. You cannot compare 1,200 calories in boxed foods, right, in boxed crap, versus 1,200 calories in foods that are single ingredients, where you're nourishing your body. You know, if you're 1,200 calories in foods that are going to cause inflammation versus ones that are going to squash inflammation and free radicals and nourish you. So it really is not, it's not the way it used to be where it was calories in, calories out anymore, because now the quality of our food in this country has just gone to shit. Pardon me. But it has. And you have to be more mindful about the quality of those calories versus just, you know, oh, well, because I'm eating 1,200 calories now. Yeah, but if you're living off of a Diet Pepsi and Tic Tacs and Twizzlers, which that used to be my diet in high school, your body can only take so much. And I think, you know, we were born healthier, our generation, but our children are not.
My son was drinking a Coke yesterday, and I was reading the label, and he bought a 2-liter from and I couldn't believe how much sugar was in Coke.
In a Coke, yes. Oh, yeah. The amount of sugar in sodas is insane. In fact, today she had half a case of a Diet Coke left in her room. And I'm not going to ask where you got it. And another.
I'll answer that one. That's from Bobby.
Your father.
Okay, and 2, I drank probably 3 of those cans. The rest were like my other roommates who wanted to drink from it.
Yeah.
And the only time I drank those 3 cans was when I had to stay up really late. And during college, I hadn't been drinking as much soda. So when I drank like soda again after a really long time, I was like, whoa, there is a lot of sugar in here.
Yeah.
I am awake.
And between the sugar and the caffeine.
And I used to think, like, back at home when I used to drink soda all the time, like, it didn't do anything to me. So
when you don't have it.
when I don't have it, then I have it after a while, you realize that thing is pumped with sugar. I don't even want to know what's in energy drinks now.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like Monster and all that other stuff. Because that's probably who drink a lot of soda, but because they drink it so much, it doesn't hit for them.
Doesn't do anything.
So they need that extra boost, which is a drink with even more sugar in it. Ridiculous. I'm so
So I told them to leave it there. I go, if you guys want to drink it, fine. But, you know, it's most useful to clean your toilets with Coke. It's actually because it corrodes, and it does a great job at cleaning toilets. So imagine what it does, the corrosion inside of us. So, but, yeah, so that was the movie that I was talking about, that Fed Up. But you guys should go. It's just really, really eye-opening. It's, you know, it's the hidden sugars everywhere, you know, and now they're trying to find other words so that way people don't really, you know, see that it says sugar in it and they'll use other words. It's really up to us to really be mindful of reading labels. And that's why the challenge of eating foods without labels, because once you do go back to a label, you're going to feel the difference in how you eat. This morning, my stepdaughter, she was opening up a gallon of milk, and my kids drink Lactaid or they'll drink unsweetened almond milk. But since we've blended our families, they've had a rough transition because they were still eating a lot of processed food and they still eat a lot of dairy. So we've tried to find a happy medium. So last night she was saying, oh, Daddy, because I have this reflux and I feel like I'm going to throw up and nothing comes out. And I go, honey, how long have you been feeling like this? And she goes, forever. And she goes, my mom says I've been lactose intolerant since I was a baby. What? And you're still eating cheese and drinking milk? She goes, well, you know, I've just kind of gotten used to it. And I thought, no, honey, you should not get used to it. But it made me think how many people walk around on this planet thinking it's okay to be popping Tums, to be popping all of these, you know, reflux issues. And, oh, hi, Heidi. She's here. You missed the whole show, Heidi. We're all done. We already addressed, actually, your grape nuts and your Trader Joe's, but we will talk about it again if we have to. But we're talking about the lactose intolerance. And I said, honey, that's the problem with when you grow up. If you don't, if you think it is normal to feel this, because she said, I'm used to it. You should not be used to feeling this way. And I go, what happens? You're only 12, but as you become older now, then you're going to be complaining. You're becoming, why is my stomach so bloated all the time? And that's where it starts. The girls calling themselves fat, and it's just inflammation, not realizing that the foods that you're taking in from the moment you wake up in the morning, that happened. She said, well, everything has milk in it. And I go, well, yes, a lot of foods are made with milk. And I go, well, let's just start small with your breakfast. So I took away the gallon of milk from her, and I go, start with some lactate or, you know, unsweetened. Take one of these two. And then maybe next week we'll address your next meal. But we're not going to throw her a huge curveball at age 12.
Right.
But I said, no, it's not normal to be feeling like you want to throw up and having chest pains after you eat. That is not normal. Unfortunately, it's just become that way in this country. So yes, her belly does get upset, but she's used to it. And a lot of us too, as we get sicker, as we get older, I think you just kind of become numb. You know, it's like having that nagging headache. And then when you hurt yourself with something else, you forget about the nagging headache because this hurts more. And then, but as you start to eat cleaner and cleaner and all of these things disappear, what happens is that you become very attuned to when you eat something and it doesn't sit right. And you really need to be mindful to it. Just because you were able to eat it before and it didn't bother you, maybe it did, but you had so many other symptoms going on, so many other flare-ups, and you couldn't detect that was an issue. And as we get older, our bodies are dynamic. Things change, especially every 7 years. Things that used to sit well, all of a sudden, not so much. And which is very normal, because as we get older too, we tend to need to eat fewer calories as well. So it's just becoming a little bit more mindful, and instead of, forcing your body to, I know my grandmother, as she got older, she steered away from chicken and eggs. It just didn't appeal to her anymore, and she just had a hard time digesting that kind of food. It was just too heavy for her to digest. And as we get older, our digestive system got, so she listened to her body. She was really mindful about it. But again, she was always a healthy person, so she could feel the changes in her body. Some girls are like, what, I was feeling just fine, and lately in the last 6 months, I don't know why I'm bloated all the time. And that's a red flag. That's really a red flag, and it's not just because I put on a few pounds. No, inflammation. What was it they were saying? I was reading an article. The scientist was writing about the probiotics and in our gut health, that we carry up to 2 pounds of probiotics in our gut health, whether the good ones or the bad ones. And of course, the bad ones which cause more inflammation. Think about how many extra pounds we're carrying in waste and stuff like that if we're not really, feeding our bodies properly and squashing that inflammation. If we still continue to be concerned about the calories, but not concerned about maybe this food is causing inflammation or issues with our gut health, that's contributing to more weight gain, although it's just inflammation. But we step on the scale, we're not saying, 6 of these pounds are inflammation. We don't see that. But it's something that needs to be addressed. Because I know with my daughter Maxine, when I changed her diet over the summer, she dropped 12 pounds like that. And I know not all of it was not body fat. I could see the inflammation around her neck and in her gut, and how it just went away so quickly. And it wasn't that I was reducing her calories or that she was exercising more. It was just changing the food, taking those inflammatory foods out of her body. Her body just...
Did it stay away?
It did stay away, yeah. And I can tell, though, when she spends a weekend away and she's not, like when she went to Grandma's farm for a week for spring break, she came back a little inflamed, and I was prepared, I'm sure she was eating biscuits and gravy and all that kind of stuff in the South, which is fine. But she felt sick too. So her allergies were starting to come back. She was very lethargic again, having problems sleeping again. And then the moment I just took the gluten and the dairy out, boom, she felt much better. Any other questions?
I have a question.
We're going to have you speak up.
With on the plane, in several some of the snack areas, you have the 1 scoop of protein powder.
Yes.
So that's the one thing I hadn't been doing because I wasn't quite sure on it.
That was optional, yeah. I mean, yeah.
So when you put that down as 1 scoop of protein powder, is that like in a drink, or is that...
Yeah, mixing it with water.
Okay. So it wasn't like mixing it into a peanut butter or something.
Well, I have done that, So when I have it in my oat, if I do put my protein powder in my oatmeal and then put peanut butter in it, it's like a chocolate peanut butter oatmeal cookie. So that's really yummy. And when I used to have Greek yogurt, I used to put the protein powder in my Greek yogurt with a tablespoon of peanut butter and then put it in the freezer for 20 minutes and then eat it. It's ice cream. Yeah, it's really yummy.
You can usually, like today I did a little bit of coconut and I did a little bit of banana, just like a small piece of banana.
Banana and coconut?
Yeah. And the protein shake. And I even put a little bit of cinnamon and honey in it too.
So there was a protein shake and you put coconut and coconut oil.
I like real pieces.
Real pieces of coconut. Yeah. And the banana. Oh yeah.
And a piece of pineapple too.
That's like the
like
pina colada smoothie that we made the other day. That's awesome.
But it was really good.
Again.
Water to it, and a couple of ice cubes too.
Water and ice. Okay. Perfect. That's perfect. Who was asking?
I really haven't been eating food, but we had a pineapple.
Okay. Yeah. So are you going into?
Almost. Well, I started with it. First, it would be like 2 weeks tomorrow.
It'll be 2 weeks tomorrow, so you'll start phase 2.
I was gonna do that before I just started.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, you can do that.
And then the difference, I was trying to what is the difference between?
Okay, so as you can see, the difference between phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 has more carbs, but has no fruit.
Okay.
It also has no dairy in it. In phase 2, the only dairy I add in it, and I don't know if everybody should, if it's the Greek yogurt. If you already know that you have an intolerance, then don't do it.
Is there something else instead of yogurt?
Then you can just have a snack from phase 1.
Okay.
You're welcome to do that.
Okay.
No ice cream.
No cheese.
No cheese. No ice cream, no cheese. And there's that half piece of fruit that I reintroduced. Did you see there's half a banana,
Oh, okay.
half an apple? Again, this isn't for you to follow for life, guys. I'm not telling you to give it up forever. It's just in order for it's a detox food elimination program that I designed in order to help you guys pinpoint what you might be intolerant to. And for a lot of us, sugar will trigger, whether it comes from wine, whether it comes from your fruit, whether it comes from a piece of candy, all of those are going to trigger things. So if you feel like you're more in control recently in the last 2 weeks, you have to think about that. Think about what was it that it's not in your diet anymore, that you are now not having these afternoon cravings, and that you're completely satisfied, and your energy levels are great throughout the day, that you're not crashing and then looking for carbs to pick yourself back up again. Be mindful of it and think, wow, you know what? I'm not eating that 3 o'clock handful of goldfish anymore, and guess what? I feel better. And I'm not dipping into the cookie jar later at night. All of these things are, and especially after you have a treat meal. So what's that? Are you guys having your treat meals? Are you having your weekly treat meal? So how do you feel after that? Let's discuss, because I know a lot of people, if they have their treat meal in the middle of the day, they'll be texting me like, oh my God, do I have to go back on my plan because I'm not hungry, I'm stuffed, I feel like crap, and I could wait till tomorrow to eat. And it's really interesting how treat meals sit in people.
I had
depending what you're
I
eating.
had 2 treat meals.
You got 2 treat meals. 2 treat meals. Well, it was Mother's Day.
So I had an omelet Sunday morning, and
You had an omelet. What was it made with? Like
it was regular eggs, and there was cheese.
There was cheese and eggs. Okay.
Peppers and onions.
Okay.
And, but I was sick.
So Karen got sick, like sick, stomach sick,
Yeah.
like running to the bathroom sick. That was probably the dairy in there. Did you know that you have a dairy intolerance prior to this? You did not know that.
I didn't know.
Now you know.
I didn't know if it was like the grease or, like
Yeah.
at a restaurant or.
Yeah. So what if they cooked it with butter,
Yeah.
which again is dairy?
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
Then that night I had chicken.
And then you had chicken for another treat. And how did that sit?
That's fine.
That was fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't go overboard because I wasn't.
There was no dairy at that hour?
No.
Okay. So I would think that if you move on to the next phase, I would stay away from the Greek yogurt then. You don't eat it anyway? Okay. What about you? What treat meal have you had lately?
Well, for Mother's Day,
Talking to Lisa, where Mother's Day seems to be the treat meal.
Sangria.
Sangria,
Awesome.
yummy.
Yes, I have that too.
Good for you.
And then I didn't really have like a really fatty meal. I had like Mediterranean chicken with some rice.
Mediterranean chicken and rice.
It
Okay.
wasn't too bad.
Did the sangria make you want to have more? Like the sugar triggered you in any way?
The first week, I was dying for my chicken. I think it's because when you first start, I was like,
Yeah, because you think like I can't have it. It becomes a mental.
Yeah, we went out to dinner, and I just was thinking, I just want dessert. And then I went to the bathroom, and my husband got to check, and I'm like,
Ah!
oh, it's Dairy Queen.
Ah!
I just needed to have something to eat.
Yes.
But then after that, I was fine.
Okay.
But then the second time, I have to say, ice cream sandwiches So
Okay.
That's, I mean, I'd rather have this ice cream versus like
Yes.
the first. Yeah.
Oh yeah, ice cream is a lot of
Like ice cream, my favorite from other states. So I had like a little bit of that. Still in the freezer from next week. So,
Okay.
I just had a serving. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was totally satisfied.
So Lisa's treatment both times have been really just the ice cream craving, which I think a lot of us miss.
It actually tastes better when you don't have it on the fridge. I don't know.
It does taste better, and I think if you're gonna have the ice cream, you know, instead of going to Dairy Queen, I'd rather you have the full-blown Haagen-Dazs. Yeah. So for those of you who didn't hear, Lisa went out for her first treatment the first week, and she couldn't wait to have dessert. But she went to the bathroom after dinner. When she came back, her husband had already gotten the check, and she was like, "No, I need my dessert." So she ended up at Dairy Queen, which it probably fulfilled that because you were craving it all week long. But you'd rather go for like the big Kahuna, have real ice cream, and not because did you hear like Dairy Queen's first ingredient is lard?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's what keeps the ice cream like
That's what keeps it.
together.
Yeah.
Like when they have that.
You know when they flip it like that, and they do
I
that.
worked at Dairy Queen for like half my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen the difference.
The first ingredient is lard.
Before you
Like
serve.
really? At least could it be cream? Maybe.
It's like when you.
But they always said it was skim milk. Like growing up. Oh, Dairy Queen's better for you because it's skim milk.
It's skim milk. Well, they didn't. Maybe perhaps that was the third ingredient, skim milk. But the first ingredient is lard. Well, you weren't thinking. You're a teenager at the time when you're working at Dairy Queen. How much weight did you put on working there?
Not too much.
No?
You get sick of it.
Yeah.
Smell. You smell like it.
You smell like you, Mackenzie, when you worked at McDonald's.
When I worked there, I already knew what to not eat. She kept yelling at me like, "Don't eat there!" And the only thing I would eat there was
The
like,
blizzards.
M&M McFlurry.
Oh, McFlurries. I mean, yeah.
I don't care if I got sick of all the food. That was the one thing I did not get sick of. And they actually like had a smaller size, and that was the one that I got because with the normal size I get full.
The mini, yeah. They have the minis now.
I like the minis.
Just my kids get this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never eat a whole.
It's plenty.
Yeah, and they're not, they're fine with it. It's just,
Yeah.
And the minis are cheaper and with my employee discount.
Did you check if there's any questions?
I've been constantly checking.
Between the Facebook page and the
Yes.
Thursday question?
No,
Oh.
I've
Oh, you have been
I've
checking.
been checking.
Okay.
Not slacking off yet.
Well, I know Heidi is still on,
Click off.
so I don't want to keep repeating myself, but as far as the Trader Joe's, we were talking here that Trader Joe's, people think just because it's Trader Joe's, that it's like Whole Foods, and not even Whole Foods, because Whole Foods is working their way to become completely non-GMO by the end of this year. But even them, when I've been shopping at Whole Foods when I first moved out here, and everybody's like, oh, Whole Foods, and you'd see the unhealthiest people shopping at Whole Foods buying organic, brownies, and I'm like, no, but it's still crap. And just because it's organic doesn't mean you can eat the whole box either. So they're definitely, last year they committed to the whole non-GMO movement, and they will be completely non-GMO by the end of this year. Trader Joe's has not aligned themselves with that cause, and therefore a lot of their stuff, just because it's organic or just because it's a Trader Joe's brand, doesn't automatically mean that it's organic. Even Whole Foods at a time, their 365 brand, for a while there, it wasn't automatically organic. Now they've made that movement, but when I first moved here, it's going to be 7 years now, they weren't. So people were like, oh, their brand was still not so great. So they're making that movement. So perhaps there's something suspicious in that salsa of yours, of Trader Joe's. I don't know. Let me Fujicate. Have you guys been using your Fujicate app?
Yes, and that the 3 Bakers bread, the gluten-free.
Yes.
I talked about. I did Fujicate.
You stand it?
I got an A-.
Oh.
So I was really pleased.
The 3 Bakers brand is a gluten-free bread. Where do you buy it? Market Basket.
$3.99 a loaf, which is ridiculously cheap. But almost every grocery store has it, and it's in the freezer section.
Okay.
And it's usually in the area with like the allergy food.
3 Bakers. Okay, so it's like with the Udis and the Ezekiel in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see here the Trader Joe's chunky salsa gets a C plus.
Ooh.
Let's see why. It may contain milk. Okay. Let me see their ingredients. I know. What? Why would you put milk in? It's got tomatoes, tomato puree,
Probably make it thicker.
green peppers, onions, jalapeno peppers, distilled vinegar, salt, garlic, paprika, oregano. Made in a facility that processes milk. Okay, so there they were concerned about the cross-contamination. But other than that, it does look pretty clean, Heidi. I can see why you're skeptical about that. I'm trying to see. It's non-GMO manufactured. It seems to be soy-free, seems to be peanut-free. So I guess perhaps they're just giving you that warning because it may contain milk. Interesting. Let me see, is there a salsa out there that gets an A? Have you guys? A salsa that gets an A. Guy Fieri gets an A. I've never seen that one. Heck, even Tostitos gets a B minus. That's interesting. Yeah. And Sabra gets a B minus, which surprises me that that would get a higher grade than a Trader Joe's.
Is Newman's on me? Is this stuff is like Newman's on?
Oh, let's find out Newman's. We're asking about Newman's salsa. Wonder if Acapulco's is a Newman's own is a C plus.
Wow.
The hot one. The mild one, it gets a B minus. The peach gets a C plus. I wonder why. May contain gluten, may contain peanuts, may contain milk. Tomato puree, diced peaches. Yeah, so it's probably. Are they organic?
Yeah.
Is all his stuff organic?
They say it is.
It doesn't contain high fructose corn syrup. I just checked the ingredients on the peach salsa. It does not list high fructose corn syrup. Okay, so I think maybe it was misconstrued that it had high fructose corn syrup, but it doesn't. What salsa do you guys use?
Newman's own pineapple. We usually get.
The Newman's own?
There's one that's like, I don't, my husband likes it. It has bean and corn in it.
Bean and corn?
Yeah, I don't.
Let me look it up. I think I know what you're talking about. Bean and corn. There's an Amy's black bean and corn. Red Gold Full Circle Salsa has an A. Trader Joe's black bean and white corn salsa gets a C plus. Wow, they have it out for Trader Joe's. Let me see why. Sun-ripened tomatoes, white corn, black beans, apple cider vinegar, xanthan gum. Oh, interesting. Market basket? Okay. Let's see if casket is what I call it. All the old people. When you casket. At least that's always my timing when I go. I don't see it here. Food Club is here. Oh, no, I haven't had. When I have it if I'm out.
The Newman's own
Pineapple salsa.
It's an A minus.
Newman's own
Pineapple.
pineapple salsa gets an A minus.
Yep. That's the kind we usually buy. It's really good.
Okay.
It's really good. Like, it makes it really
That
good.
sounds yummy. Like you could just eat it with a spoon.
It's very good. Yeah. We even mix it in with like ground turkey.
Okay. Oh yeah. I have a recipe on my website. It's with mango. It's a mango salsa.
Oh,
Super with cherry tomatoes. Super easy. That can also be eaten with a spoon too. You don't need anything with it. Heidi, did you have any other questions? I know we're at a 20-second delay or so because it's 7:51. And over here, people are watching the Game 7 of the Bruins, so I know we need to end this on time. Newman gets an A.
I think that's an
Do you need my reading glasses?
Yeah.
Karen, I think that's an A. Yes, it is an A. That's a Newman's Own salsa, medium, chunky, black bean, and corn. They have it at Market Basket?
The Cowboy Caviar, so I did too.
Cowboy Caviar, I think got a, I'm not sure if it got a really good grade, though.
Well, the Trader Joe's one that's an A.
Okay.
But I haven't seen any of the other ones.
Cowboy Caviar. Yeah, I did have that. And maybe, what's in it?
What's Cowboy Caviar?
It's Cowboy Black bean. That's why I had to stay away from it. The corn. It was making me gassy. Sorry, TMI. But yeah, that's what it was because it was really yummy. I love putting it on a chicken breast. It was really good. That Cowboy Caviar.
I was watching Dr. Oz the other day, and he was talking about if you have time, you could drink some white vinegar after that. Do you know anything about that?
What was his thought process on that? Drinking
I
white
think it was like
vinegar after eating carbs, Dr. Oz.
I think it was like tablespoons. Maybe you could break it down.
To break it down. I mean, the carbs start breaking down the moment they hit your tongue.
Yeah.
It's actually completely broken down by the time they go through your esophagus.
Like, you know anything about what that would do? Is it anything?
Are they trying to say that this like blocks fat or something? I mean, I don't know. I know with apple cider vinegar, there's a big thing now to drink apple cider vinegar. You just have to be really careful because it's very corrosive. To drink. Some people put a tablespoon in their water, and it helps for digestion.
Well, I have acid reflux.
You have acid reflux. Okay.
And I was on the Prilosec, but found out that like slows your metabolism.
Yes.
And has a lot of like long-term bad
It
effects.
does.
So I started to research it, and every site I would go on, it kept referencing apple cider vinegar, raw apple cider
Yes.
vinegar. And so for about 6 months now, I've not taken the Prilosec.
Wow.
I just do the apple cider vinegar and water every morning.
So apple cider vinegar, like a tablespoon in your water, and
Delicious.
and
Delicious.
and no more acid reflux.
No, every once in a while I get a little burn, but it's usually like towards the end of the day, and more shame on me, like I could drink it again.
Yeah, and no more Prilosec.
But
How
no
awesome.
more trying it.
Yeah, that stuff is bad.
It's really good.
All of those heartburn
It
medic.
stops,
Oh,
like, your body from producing its own acid.
yeah,
And
correct.
And then it also, just by doing that, also it slows your whole metabolism. And I had a slow metabolism to begin with. It slows down
Yes.
even more. Like within like 6 months or 8 months of being on it, I would change my diet at all, and I ended up just gaining 15 pounds. Just from
Wow.
being on, and I couldn't figure out what had changed.
Well, nobody would have told you that it was the Prilosec.
No, and then I started researching it, and that's it says
Yeah.
it slows you, and it shuts that trigger off in your body.
Correct.
So
That
I
defense
was like,
mechanism. Absolutely. That was awesome that you did that. Yeah, I know a lot of people use these acid controllers, you know, from Tums to
Yeah.
Prevacid and all that stuff. And yeah, it's just forcing other things to shut down that should normally know how to trigger. I know a great tool because sometimes when I do have a little late night, which I rarely do anymore, but if I do, when I've had a cheat meal, I get it. Chewing peppermint gum makes it go away.
Yeah.
Or even, so I have peppermint essential oils, and you just do put a little drop on the roof of your mouth, and it squashes all the acid reflux. Makes it go away too. For anyone who, so just that might be a little trick for you if you start to have that. But yeah, if you want to do another glass of that apple cider vinegar water, and you said it's refreshing,
Oh, it's delicious.
because I've tried doing it cold turkey, and it's so corrosive. Oh my gosh, it's horrible.
Did you buy the Bragg's?
Um,
Raw apple cider
yes,
vinegar?
yes. Bragg's raw apple cider vinegar. She's talking about it's, yeah. You also have to make sure that you have a quality apple cider vinegar. Is that BRAGGS? Yep.
It has the mother in it. So on the bottom,
Yep.
you see that floaty thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's,
Yeah.
I need to try that again. I haven't done it in a long time, but this was back in my bodybuilding days when we were trying to find other ways to get that extra fat burner. And bodybuilders will do that. They'll just drink apple cider vinegar. I'm like, no, I'd rather carry my extra body fat. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. I could just feel my esophagus just burning.
Did you try mixing it?
No, I was doing it like hardcore. Yeah, hardcore. And the thing too, you know, the timing of it, too, the way they want you to do it is to do like an hour before a meal. Well, you're already like, you know, planning to eat every 3 hours, but to be so mindful to take this an hour before a meal, that was just too much. But going back to you with the carbs, so I mean, maybe something like that to help with digestion. So
Maybe it's the same as the apple cider vinegar.
yeah. Exactly, to help with digestion. But as far as carbs go, they do break down the moment they hit saliva. Your salivary glands, first of all, start breaking things down. But carbs are definitely broken down a whole lot faster than proteins and fats. That's why we're so much fuller. Stay fuller when we eat proteins and fats. And with carbs, you could eat a carb and half an hour later, gosh, I'm hungry again. And it's because, well, you never satisfied your stomach or, never made it there. But try that. Put up, like, if and when you eat a saltine again, put a saltine in your mouth and just feel it melting away. You don't even have to chew it. What's that?
It's fun.
It's fun. Any other questions or challenges?
I have one other question about the flaxseed. Is it like when it says just to have like flaxseed with on the second with
1 tablespoon flaxseed.
Like mixed with something?
I think in your oatmeal. Is it in your oatmeal?
Breakfast, 3 egg whites, 1 tablespoon.
Oh, I put it on my eggs. So I use those little packet ones that are already ground, and I'll just.
Is it different than using the chia, or would it be the same kind of thing?
It is different. I find that chia is very bloating, and if you were to do a tablespoon of chia versus a tablespoon of flax, you would definitely feel it. With chia, I'm like more like a teaspoon versus a tablespoon. I get very bloated. You'll find too, you'll start to, as you lean out and you're cleansing your body too, you'll start to realize the bloating foods. Certain things that'll trigger them. And chias it's a great energizer, but definitely they're not the equivalent tablespoon for tablespoon for flaxseed. Yeah, I would use a little less. Seltzer water is a big one, especially now all these new flavored ones. Did you see mango papaya, bipolar? I can't wait to have it. And I love mojito. I saw they have raspberry mojito. It's fine.
I love like the lemon, the water like always that makes it loaded, or is that the same thing as drinking water, or is it you just have it?
No, I mean it's fine. Obviously, be careful with some brands that they use sweeteners in them. But I know, like with my fitness competitors, I make them cut it out the week before. I make them cut out seltzer, and I make them cut out gum. You're swallowing a lot of air. Well, you don't have to,
Not stop, but I mean, I was chewing
excessively.
Yeah.
How many? Yeah, I was a 2-pack a day.
Yeah, I mean,
When I compete, I'm like a 2-pack a day.
I don't do the sugar free, so it's just
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I found that when I was doing the sugar free, it was making me crave more of it. And then the sugar alcohols. Yeah, now I can't do it anymore. I've become so sensitive. But back in my competition days, I was a 2-pack a day girl. Yeah, and it was just that oral fixation, to get you to your next meal. Like, okay, I have another hour, I have to wait. Because you're eating food again. Yeah. Yeah. So no, the seltzer's fine. And if you notice that, then obviously I know some people who just completely don't drink any water and then just live off of seltzer. That's going to bloat you a lot more than, if you maybe manage to. Yeah, that's fine. You can have it with a meal, absolutely. And now in the summertime, if it's going to keep you from having that alcoholic beverage every single time, and you can, substitute it with seltzer. I tell a lot of girls too, I go, listen, when I'm trying to wean them off of drinking, let's say 2 or 3 glasses of wine per night, which I do have clients who do that. I'll say, you know what, I'm not going to go cold turkey with you, but maybe 1 glass of wine tonight, and then have a seltzer in between, and that's a great way to wean off of whether it's alcohol or soda drink. A lot of people who can't have, go through soda withdrawals. That helps them. You girls are doing great though. No major.
It's fun. I think
It
it's fun
is.
doing
It
these
is.
meals.
I like having it all spelled out for me. It's like the next best thing to having your own chef.
Ah.
Are you doing it exactly?
No, well, when I'm like picking like a breakfast from one day and then
So you like
a
having
lunch meal
everything.
from another, it's just I measure it out and it's like I know going into the day this is what I'm going to eat. And I could do this for.
It's easy to follow.
Yeah.
It's easy to follow. Just be mindful of not, I guess, getting obsessive about it. It is nice to follow. And for people who fall off, because they go away on vacation or it's the holidays, it's a great plan to go back to again. And always, and to pull out that scale again too, because you'll put it away and you know how to eye foods, and then as time goes by, it gets a little bit bigger and bigger. And as we get older, it's not so forgiving. That little extra here and there daily, it starts to add up. But again, just being mindful, and people do like it spelled out for them, and that's why I did it, because I used to just give a list, and for some reason, for some people, that's still too overwhelming. They need to know how to combine it. And I never thought of eating this for mid-morning. Like you used to think about eating something out of a cellophane packet for a snack, and not maybe chicken and avocado at 10 o'clock in the morning. But
I find like the hardest part is like my family eats dinner, and so sometimes I have to eat what they have, but I'll have like a little bit of what's on here.
yeah,
I had like burgers, but I had guacamole and I had those tortillas and I had sauteed onions and peppers, so I had like a little piece of burger.
okay,
Not in half, but then I had that rice tortilla.
yeah.
Onions and peppers and some guacamole.
So you can incorporate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of it. Yeah. But I had like shrimp and lunch, I had my food. Like I just did the rest of the day.
Okay, good. That's awesome. Well, I think now what's going to happen, and I think going into the next week, if any of you work outside of the home, or even what social challenges you'll start to face. The questions at work. Oh, so what diet are you doing now? Oh, you're no fun anymore. Oh, why are you only having 1 drink at the party? Whatever it is, these things start to kind of surface, and it's very interesting because it's not you, it's them. And even though you're not pointing fingers and you're not saying anything to them,
I haven't told anybody.
but it makes people look at themselves and say, wow, she's been good now for 3 weeks in a row, and I don't have that willpower. And so it's not about willpower. It's about the fact that you were ready to change. And that's what people don't understand. You were ready to make a change. You were ready to make a commitment to your health. And it wasn't, because when you're doing it to fit into a dress or to fit into a bikini, it never lasts. You get there and then you fall off and boom. But when you're willing to do it because it's for your health and it's for a lifestyle, you commit to it. And so when people say, oh my gosh, you're so disciplined, like, no, it's not that. I was just ready to change. I was tired of feeling sick all the time. That's what drove mine. And then, of course, it turned into something else, but that's how it all started for me. And I think that's where that switch is flipped. And so then, but then you're still socializing with the same people. Like for me, I was still socializing with the same people that I was doing bunko with and candle parties. And, every week, it was like 3 nights a week where we were drinking, all the mommies. And all of a sudden, I wasn't doing that anymore. And I started feeling better and losing weight and getting more fit. And then all of a sudden, well, you're not so much fun anymore. I'm like, why? Like I never needed to drink to be fun. But it wasn't because, oh, look at you eating. No, I never pointed anything out. I was quiet about it. But it's just them. It's their issue, and and they see like how committed you've become, because they're just waiting for you to fall off again, to join them again. And the woe is me. And I think that's such a common thing that happens. They're waiting for you to come in again with your Dunkin' Donuts bag or something. Oh, well, that didn't last long, right? And
Especially women.
Especially women. Yeah. That you pull out a Tupperware, you walk in with a McDonald's bag, no big deal, but you pull out a Tupperware with broccoli and chicken, whoa, it's like the world is ending. Why are you eating like that? And I'm like, well, you wouldn't have said a thing if I had come in with my McDonald's. That's really screwed up. Really screwed up, just because you chose to bring food that you prepared at home, and now you're being diligent and doing it all the time. It's really interesting, I think, how it starts to happen that way. But hopefully I find it that perhaps if you find someone along the way that you inspire them to change, and you're giving them the tools, then it's all worth it. Whether they do it next week or next year, they're bound to say, hey, what are you eating today? Right? So what is this thing that you're doing? And that opens up, because there's always a conversation about food. Even when you're not on a diet, even when there's always that conversation. If it's not about you, I feel like people are always telling me, I feel like a doctor. I'm like, can I just have my dinner? Yeah. But people come, well, today I'm like, even if I wasn't a nutritionist, it's always about food. It's always about trying to lose weight, or maybe it's about health. It always comes back to food. It's everywhere. Well, if there aren't any more questions, it's 8:08. If there are more questions, post them on Facebook. Thank you, everyone. I hope you're all doing well, and keep the questions coming, and keep nourishing your mind, body, and spirit. Thank you. Good night, and go Bruins!